Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Kirkpatrick. I'm an author, idiot, and loin streamer, and today is the best day of the month, LMIAY time. That is the day where we finally go over the brilliant things that you guys have come up with because I gave you a prompt last month and you guys have delivered. But before we get started, number one, if you enjoy what I do here, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. The second thing is, if you would like to be featured on the channel, check out the links down in the description below. The number one way to be featured is what we're here doing today, which is LMIAY. Basically like an anthology, like a submission sort of dealio magazine-ish, where I give you a prompt every month. You guys fulfill the prompt however you see fit, and then I read some of the submissions from you guys to hopefully help spread your names, aim to get other creative people out there. Maybe you've never written before, and so it gives kind of a nice, easy, fun thing to just explore different ideas, different ways of writing, different things. If you're looking for critical feedback, LMIAY is not it, because LMIAY is just to have fun, explore, and have a good time with our creative peers or somebody who is dipping their toes in creativity for the first time. The other way to be featured is the Fresh Meat feature, where if you're an indie author with a book out or a book that is coming out, if you submit the first chapter and the cover to the feature, that chapter will be read here on the channel to hopefully help more readers find your work. I may be one of those readers who goes to pick up the rest of the book afterwards, but the feature is the best way for me to share all sorts of creative content out there without it having to fit my personal preferences or my timeline, because reading a book takes time. The third thing is, if you would like to check out any of my books, they're available at any of your favorite places to get books, including the local library upon request. My newest novel, Bodymore Zero, came out at the end of October, featuring these two gentlemen right here. I hope you'll check it out if, you like their vibe, maybe. If you don't, I don't blame you. I kind of write in a niche, With all of that said, enough about me. Let's get into you guys. So the prompt last month had to do with monsters or vampire community service. So let's see what you guys have brought. The first author is John Morey, titled Hamburgers of the Damned. Do you not understand? I am Ukobak. I am keeper of hell's flames. I stoke the fires of eternal suffering. Are you certified to operate a grill? Ukobak stared at the strange, bespectacled man behind the desk. I told you, I am Ukobak! I am as eternal as the infernal worm that always chews at the souls of those with gnashing teeth. From within me burns the unholy embers of... You need your OSHA safety certificate, EPA amusement operators safety certification, CPF5 food safety certification, food safety manager certification, and ServSafe. Do you have those? I cook the souls of the damned! The man handed him a stack of paperwork. Go to the URLs listed on each packet and complete the training. Then fill out each form and bring it back here with a $15 processing fee per packet. What if I just burned these papers up? Ukobak asked. Then you will forfeit the terms of your court-mandated community service and can be subject to the full judgment. Oh yeah? And who's going to enforce that, huh? I will, the man said as he scowled and picked up the small nameplate before setting it down on his desk with a thud of utter finality. Yahuwah, spirit of Metatron, restrainer of Leviathan and destroyer of idols. Ukobak's pointy ears drooped. You're not just mortal man? I am also the Archangel of Fire, he said as he adjusted his spectacles. You're bluffing. They said that I had to work for humans. Your service will be done to humanity, Yahuwah explained. Allow me to remind you of something else. The demon folded his arms. What? Yahuwah stood to his feet and produced a yardstick, holding it next to Ukobak. You are 3 feet 10 inches tall. In my true form, I am 450 feet tall. Ukobak shrank. Yeah? So what? I have 6 arms and 4 faces, one of which is 7-eyed lion bathed in flames of eternal justice, the angel warned before sitting back down. Now, do you remember the terms of your trial, or do you need a refresher? Ukobak rolled his eyes. I was set up. You people said I failed, but I tell you I got pushed. You attempted, unsuccessfully mind you, to set fire to 9 churches, 5 restaurants, 2 bus stations, and 1 Mama Barney's Bolo Center. I was tired of Azazel getting all the glory. Your rampage ended when you were apprehended by mortal police who described you as, direct quote, a strange little man who resisted arrest but is about as strong as an asthmatic spider monkey. They don't know the meaning of devilish strength. Apparently, you spent the entire time crying and screaming, I do not consent to be arrested. I do not consent to arrest. Well, I didn't. It's in the Constitution. Yahuel ignored him. Your earthly trial proceeded as expected, but its heavenly counterpart went in an unexpected direction. Mitigating factors in your divine sentencing include your great services to mankind. Services? Services? I am demon. I am evil incarnate. Everything I have done is a work of malevolence. As good works, you invented fast food. Clogged arteries. Fireworks. Blowing up fingers every 4th of July. And barbecue. Ukobak paused. Okay, maybe you have a point there. In light of the joy and happiness caused by your inventions, I'm just like Prometheus, taking charcoal briquettes from heaven to disperse among the people. As I said, in light of your good deeds, yes, truly righteous I am. In light of your, and what kind of God wouldn't give his children BBQ from day one? I am the real good guy. You are all... The 400-foot-tall lion roared. Okay, sorry. I'll be quiet now. Thank you, Yahuel said. In light of your good deeds, we, the heavenly we, have decided to give you a chance at redemption. Who said I wanted redemption? A chance at glory. Who said I wanted glory? A chance at righteousness. Who said that I wanted righteousness? A chance to see your mother again. And then Ukobak started crying, which was quite noisy considering his nose was half the size of his head. Mama, I'm so sorry. Yahuel smiled. I see that you've agreed to our terms. Mama, I'm coming home, provided that you accomplish this one task. Ukobak puffed himself up. I can handle anything that you've got. I am mighty demon from hell. Are you certain that you will agree to heaven's terms? If it means I get to see Mom again, I'll do whatever you say. She used to bake this apple pie with the fruit of Eden, and it was so good that you wish that you could fall just so that you could pretend you've never had it. And she paid for my heavenly organ lessons, and she bailed me out the first few times that I fell, and she... He began to sob again. Yahuel cleared his throat. You were saying, Ukobak? So what is it? Come on. What do you want? Riches for the poor, healing for the hospitals, hell's deepest secrets and battle plans revealed, Asmodeus's true name? I've got it all. So what'll it be? What do you want from me? Archangel Yahuel handed him a chef's hat and an apron. And so at Fifth Baptist churches, there had been 4 schisms, annual 4th of July picnic. A very strange little man volunteered to run the barbecue grill. He grumbled, cussed, and drank ketchup straight out of the bottle. But those were the best damned hamburgers anybody had ever tasted. Were there people in those hamburgers? What kind of secret is this man, demon, community service individual keeping? Because you don't just make the best danged hamburgers. Did he just order them from a fine dining restaurant and then put them on a plate? How did he do it? Fam, we need to know. Is it because he's got this flaming spoon? There's a picture in here. Did he breathe on it with his giant nose? Why are his feet the color of the fire? Did he put toe jam in those burgers and somehow that also made it a bigger deal? We may never know. Nice entry, ready. The next story is by Egao Chan. It's called Difficult License. Monsters and Paranormal Creatures Association, Division of Monster Vessels. Come on, you need to pull yourself together, Eric's father urged. You're gonna do okay. Yeah, Eric peeked at the slime monster father and son duo who gave them dirty looks as they walked by. The slime boy's entire body turned red. They didn't have much self-awareness, though, as both Eric and his father had to raise their feet to walk past their wet marks before reaching the counter. The lady behind the counter was a creature with 3 eyes, smaller ones on the left and a big one on the right. She used the same emotionless, almost robotic tone. Name, registration, and time card. Here and here. Eric pulled everything out of his folder with his father watching beside him. His name and picture was on the registration sheet, with his time card stapled on it. His name is Eric Hopalot, sex male, age 115, race and breed toad/frog amphibian. The lady read, and the lady read the sheet, her two smaller eyes on the left side of her face comparing the looks of Eric with the picture. And you have logged 20 hours of operating a vessel while accompanied. Yes. Eric took a deep breath and licked the space between his eyes, only to realize he probably shouldn't do it. Don't do that during the test. The lady narrowed her eyes. You brought your vessel with you? Oh, right here. Eric's father showed the lady a large capsule that he brought, fully operable and within the age range. Good for you. The lady stamped on the registration sheet and handed everything back. Aisle 4. Next. It was a relief that the examiner of Eric's vessel operating test was also a frog, one of a similar age to Eric. Hello, good morning. The examiner smiled and then licked her right eye. Have you brought your own vessel, or do you need to rent a vessel? We have our own. Eric's father put the capsule on the ground and pushed the yellow button on it. Slime flowed from the bottom of the capsule, gradually rising upwards and taking the shape of a human. It was in the shape of a red-haired human with freckles on his face. Two longer than normal teeth protruded out of his upper lip, making him seem like a chipmunk. It's an old build with very, stereotypical features. The examiner walked around the human-shaped vessel. But looks like it's well maintained. Yes, I claw wash it every 2 months and check its fuel and lubricants twice a year. Eric's father nodded. The kid's young. He doesn't need an expensive vessel. Reasonable. The examiner wrote down a few lines in her notes before turning to Eric. Let's begin. I'll accompany you in my own vessel. Eric and the examiner came out of the division back exit in vessels. The examiner took the shape of a red-haired human lady, tall and slim. Eric had no idea what this combination looked like to the humans in their world. All he knew was that he should stick to what his father told him. Be calm and remember the training. If he passed this test, he would have his license to come into the human world without a chaperone. He could enjoy all of the humanly wonders and treats as he pleased. All right, go into the store and buy a hot dog, the examiner commanded. Don't worry, I'll be by your side. Okay. Eric pushed the door. It wouldn't open. He pulled after a few failed pushes, which did the trick. Eric's tongue ticked a few times at the flies in the store, but he eventually handled these impulses by simply reminding himself that hot dogs are the sausages with the long bread with an opening in the middle and not just the sausage. Also, he had to pay with some dirty paper instead of jade or amber coins before leaving. That's $3.99 and $4.49 if you want the big drink. The guy behind the desk did not even look Eric in the eyes, but stared at the hot dog. Cash or card? Card? What card? Eric asked. The examiner cleared her throat. Sorry. Here's the payment. Eric pulled out a messy pile of paper from his pocket and dumped it on the counter. For a moment, none of them moved. Not Eric, not the examiner, not the guy behind the counter. After an awkward moment, the guy behind the counter groaned and began counting the numbers on the paper. He popped open a metal box beside him, counted some coins, and handed them back to Eric. Here's your change. Anything else? Eric looked at the examiner, who simply walked out of the store. He followed her out, holding the greasy hot dog wrapped in a thin piece of paper with both hands. Did you get the condiments? The examiner asked, just as Eric approached her. No, Eric was surprised by the question and was ready to go back into the store. I'll get some. No, it's fine, the examiner sighed. Oh no, Eric's heart sank. Did I fail? Afraid so, the examiner shook her head. It's okay, just come back in 2 weeks, huh? Can you tell me where I failed? Eric's arms trembled. The sausage wiggled with a shaking motion. Well, first, you didn't remember what a card is. The examiner checked her notes. Second, you didn't answer the clerk's sales pitch of adding a drink. You should have answered, and the answer itself doesn't matter. Third, you acted too enthusiastically around flies. Humans don't act like that. All right. Eric sighed and was about to at least have a taste of the hot dog. Last but not least, the examiner picked up the sausage sticking out of the bun, pointing to the sky. The sausage goes into the crack in parallel to the crack, not sticking out vertically like a stick. Ugh. Eric smacked himself between his eyes. Well, the DMV for monsters is volunteer work, which also, makes sense because who really wants to work at the DMV? What it must be like to have to help all of the lowly, just learning how to drive creatures fit in with regular society. Feels very, very like your style, Egao, but also a little different than normal. Very nice, very fun. Actually, the diary of a DMV worker would be pretty funny for that. I bet she drinks, let's be real. She gets into her vessel just to drink. The next story is by M.K. McKeever. Textbooks, Nina explained, gripping to the arm of the chair as she sat down. I started studying to be a nurse earlier this year. What's up with that? Travis questioned, looking perplexed. Some sort of penance for what happened with the Midwest pack? That sent a shot of rage through her. You know full well that wasn't me. She could feel the sharp pain of her bones breaking in her face, her flesh reshaping. She inhaled, then exhaled, trying to regain her composure before she underwent an involuntary transformation. Please, just tell me what happened to my father. Really, how did they get from your father's dead, I thought you should know, to talking about her textbooks? Travis sighed, getting to the point. According to Fox, he was hit in the chest with one by one of the antlers. Nina's whole body turned cold, her mind refusing to comprehend what was said. Her ears felt as though she got water in them, and everything seemed numb. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. At least until she felt Travis's hand on her shoulders. Nina. Nina pushed his hand off. Where's my brother? If their father was dead, then he had no one. He told me that he was rooming with a friend, Travis admitted. It's probably not good for him to be alone right now. Alone. Fox was alone. Fox was alone because Dad was dead. But Dad couldn't be dead. He wasn't dead. Travis was lying. Nina's brain kept going around and around in a circular argument, and she almost missed the painful tugging as her muscles began to slowly grow and reshape, the sharp snap of her bones breaking and changing to fit a larger body, a different shape. Travis's face contorted into panic. Nina, I can't even imagine what you're going through right now, but you need to calm down. I think that you need to go, Travis, Nina said, her voice hollow as her face grew a snout, fur uncomfortably bursting through her skin. Nina, Travis began. Just go, she shouted, fully in wolf form now. Travis didn't need to be told a third time, running from the room, and Nina twirled around, sending books and a couple of chairs flying. But she didn't care at that point. Not even sure where she was going at that point. She barreled down the hall, pictures crashing to the ground, the glass shattering everywhere, cutting into the pads of her paws with a pain that she was barely aware of. Well, that's definitely not good. I'm not really sure what it has to do with community service, but we did get a transformation and a little bit of trauma. So good luck, Nia. Good luck, Travis, not getting knocked down by emotions. It happening. The next story is by G.S. Price. Tommy was so cold. He couldn't stop shivering as he peered into the gloomy forest around him. He had to get back to Mommy and Daddy, but he couldn't find them. I'm sorry, he sobbed, though no one was around to hear him. All he had wanted was to pick some pretty flowers. Snap. What was that? Hello? Tommy spun in circles, trying to see everything at once. Help! I can't find Mommy. There was another sound, and this time Tommy saw what made it. An enormous dog emerged from the bushes, bigger than he was, so brown it was almost black in dim light. Mommy and Daddy had always warned him about dogs. They might hurt him. Tommy looked for someplace safe. He started to edge toward it. The dog noticed his movements and did something odd. It stopped right where it was and sat. Its gold-amber eyes seemed to study him as it tilted its head. Was it a nice dog? Tommy took a cautious step in its direction. The dog didn't move as Tommy slowly made his way over to it. When he was right next to the dog, the boy noticed a gold star with words on it around its neck. Suddenly, the dog tilted its head back and let out 3 short, piercing howls. Soon he was surrounded by half a dozen really big dogs that gathered around him. They all had badges, too. The brown one exchanged barks and yowls. The brown one exchanged barks and yips with the small one with the black and gray fur, who raced off into the forest again. The rest of the dogs huddled around him and kept him warm until the men came. From the Thorn Gazette. Local boy found. Thomas Millard, age 8, was found late Sunday by the auxiliary deputies for the Swindon Hollow search and rescue team. Thomas, the son of Lyle and Nancy Millard, had wandered off from the family camping trip the previous day. His parents contacted the sheriff's office after being unable to locate their son. The SRT, one of the first in the nations to have lichen assistance, was praised for their efforts in returning Thomas to his family. "I'm just happy that we found the boy safe and uninjured," said the Pack Alpha, Anastasia Nichols, in an interview. "I hope that this demonstrates that our community can make positive contributions to the people of Thorn Bay and Swindon Hollow." This feels like a part of a bigger story, like an introduction for this setup that is going to include this society that lives with the knowledge of the werewolves and including the werewolves, and then something is going to come in that threatens the peace. That is all of it. It is a great, very quick setup, or even a teaser. I could consider this a teaser. So very nice, very fun, and straight to the point. But definitely a teaser. That would have been the bit they show. The last story of the month is by KawaiiGroovycat. The vampire underground isn't exactly known for dealing in niceties. You hide your true nature from the rest of the world, keep your head down, and do as you're told until some bureaucratic bastard decides one day that you've outlived your usefulness. That applies whether you're being bossed around by the church or by the Illuminati. The flickering fluorescent lights in the room weren't helping my mood. London shifted uncomfortably beside me, her foot tapping out a nervous beat. I didn't blame her. This wasn't exactly a tea party invitation. She barely regained enough strength to even be here after nearly getting sliced up and stitched back together by yours truly. Metaphorically, I hope. And now these Illuminati clowns had caught wind of it. I'd told Virginia that my cooperation with a gaggle of Satanist bozos was contingent on not being spied on constantly. "Red, London." The man in front of us leaned back in his chair, his sharp eyes shifting between us with the knowing smirk. He was dressed like a government official for some reason. Cheap suit, bad haircut, but I could smell the rot on him. "Great to see you both," he chirped like we were old friends. "I know that you're probably wondering why you're here, so let's get straight to it." He slid 2 pamphlets toward us, grinning as if he'd just handed us the keys to paradise. I glanced down at mine. "Monsters Among Us, A Better Tomorrow" was printed in bright, friendly letters, complete with cartoon drawings of vampires, werewolves, and a particularly puzzled-looking zombie giving the thumbs up. London hesitated before cautiously picking up hers, worry etched across her face. What is this?" The man's face lit up. "Glad that you asked. You two have been selected to participate in a first-ever supernatural PR campaign aimed at improving relations between humans and the supernatural community." I blinked, then blinked again. I opened my mouth to say something and then closed it again. 5 more blinks. "Are you fucking kidding me? Is this Virginia's idea of a prank?" He wasn't. His smile didn't falter, not for a second. No, this is serious. It's an initiative to bridge the gap, to help people understand that not all supernatural creatures are dangerous, or—" I cut him off. "Working for the church to get rid of their own kind? Did you actually think this was a good idea?" His expression didn't so much as flinch. "Yes, Red, we're perfectly aware of your reluctance. But I think that you underestimate just how valuable you and London could be to the supernatural community right now. This is your opportunity to show a little goodwill. Get the humans on your side. Less hunting, less fear, fewer accidents." I glanced at London, her fingers white-knuckling the pamphlet. She looked at me, eyes wide, still rimmed with dark circles. Truly, this girl would be both the reason I didn't tear the bastard to bloody shreds and the reason I totally fucking would. "Well," I said, "you can fuck right off with the community BS. You and the church, you're both the fucking same. Using me as a convenient tool, knowing that I have no other future ahead of me. I'm not some fucking animal who needs a friendly face to pat me down and tell me to play nice with the people who would rather see me with a stake through my heart, all for the sake of beings I eat for lunch every day. And while we're on this train of thought, you won't be risking London's life either with that stupid bullshit. That's not what I agreed to when I accepted Virginia's offer to cooperate with you dipshits. The man's smile faltered, just a fraction before slipping back into place. But that tiny crack told me he understood loud and clear. This wasn't about goodwill or community at all. "Red," he said, voice smooth, "I get that you're frustrated. The life that you've led has conditioned you to think in certain ways, but I want you to consider something." He leaned in, folding his hands on the table like a school teacher trying to make nice. "I don't want to take away your agency at all. Otherwise, I wouldn't be trying to cooperate with you. We'd just force you." I could feel my teeth grinding together. I knew a threat when I heard one. "If you think that I'll throw London into the fire for you and the church, think again," I hissed. "You need me more than I need you. Satan's little crush on me isn't going to change that." He smirked. "I wouldn't be so sure. Virginia thinks that you have potential, not just as, let's say, a task specialist, but as someone who might change, someone who might become more than just a killer." He pushed the pamphlet back across the table toward me with a single finger. "This is your chance to create a stable world, one where you're not constantly on the church's hit list, one where London has a future that doesn't end with her being hunted or bled dry. Isn't that exactly what you wanted?" I glanced at London, who looked more unsettled with every word. Her hands twisted the pamphlet, her lip caught between her teeth as she studied it. She was trying so hard to put up with this, for my sake, or maybe for her own safety, but the whole circus was the last thing that she needed. "Let me make something clear," I said slowly, my voice low and dark. "You tell Virginia this. None of you are ever to be alone with London. Not in a room, not in a hallway, not in some broom closet in your creepy lair. That's a line that I won't let you cross. Not now, not ever. If you understand that, then I'll humor you just this once." The man's expression shifted. A small spark of irritation flickered in his eyes. But he recovered quickly, pasting on that well-rehearsed smile again. "Your terms are understandable. Virginia will be informed, of course." He nodded to himself, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth as if he'd won some silent victory. "Good." I'd play along. But the second this PR stunt turned into a threat, I'd turn it to ash. We stood outside a school, sporting community outreach badges, waiting to make nice for the next generation. London fidgeted beside me, her sweater proclaiming some dumb Finding Nemo bullshit. "Blood donors are friends," in pastel letters. Mine simply said, "Volunteer liaison," as if I were out on parole. A stocky woman with a clipboard approached, flashing a stiff, forced smile. "You must be Red in London," she said, glancing between us. "Here's the rundown. You're helping teach a neighborhood safety class. These kids will ask questions about what it's like to live alongside vampires, so be honest." "Right," I muttered, deadpan. "And when they ask the best way to get torn to shreds?" The woman's smile faltered, but she quickly moved on, leaving us alone with a dozen wide-eyed kids. I tried to psych myself up by telling myself that something like this would definitely piss the church off. That seemed to do the trick. London looked at me, unsure, and I nodded. She stepped forward with a shy wave. "Hi, everyone," she said, forcing a smile. "I'm London, and I'm kind of like you, but also kind of like Red." A girl with pigtails raised her hands, staring. "Do you eat people?" London flushed, glancing at me. I stepped in. "Only bad people," I replied, deadpanned, and a few kids giggled. A boy in a neon raincoat squinted. "Can you turn into a bat?" "No, but I can make annoying little kids disappear," I said flatly, earning a sharp look from the clipboard woman. London nudged me, pleading. I took a breath, held up one of the pamphlets they forced on us. "Listen, here's what matters. Vampires, we're not scary if you're smart. Don't get a vampire's attention if they don't want it. Don't provoke them, and definitely don't invite them in unless you trust them." The kids nodded, absorbing this. A freckled kid in the front row raised his hand. "Why don't people trust you?" he asked. "You're just people with teeth." I smirked. You know what? That's a great question that I don't have an answer to. Even you humans have teeth, don't ya? A few kids giggled, while some older ones looked at each other with uncertainty. Fun fact, I added, vegetarianism isn't just a human thing. It's just a little bit different for us bloodsuckers. You can take it literally and consume blood substitutes, or you can just stick to something like rat's blood. London made a face. Fuck. I didn't think I ever properly explained that part to her. A girl with a purple raincoat raised her hand, saving us some awkwardness. So, you're both good vampires? London hesitated. I jumped in to save her. We're trying, I said. I glanced at London, who looked back with something like gratitude. And that's all that anyone can do. London gave a small smile. Yeah, and maybe one day, if enough people try, we won't have to hide what we are. Clipboard woman gave us a polite nod as the class wrapped up, muttering a quick thank you, before hurrying off with the kids in tow. As they left, I caught London's gaze and proceeded to fake a gag, which earned me a nervous giggle from her. Well, I muttered, maybe we can keep this crap to a one-time event. Thanks, Satan. Reluctantly. I'd had the good sense to leave Akuji to watch over the apartment. If it had been us, I would have died of cringe. Can you imagine? It almost sort of makes me think of, not exactly, because obviously very different situation, but if you ever saw like the short cartoon film We're Back, where they had the dinosaurs that were part of the circus, and then there was a guy that was like taking little kids' dreams and putting them on as part of the circus act. It's been a while. Excuse me if I got parts of that wrong, because it's been a while since I've seen that movie. But kind of makes me think that in a casual sense, in the same kind of casual sense where it's like, hey, we got these vampires, and if you want to live a normal life, then you are going to go around and normalize vampires and answer questions of the children as if you are doing a job. This also feels like it's not quite a teaser. It feels like the start of something right before stuff hits the fan, where the vampires are going to have to deal with other vampires and then choose whether or not they want to go against the humans that are kind of like putting them in this position. Or, I don't know, there are a lot of ways that you could actually take this. Obviously, I'm putting one direction out there, but there are other directions in which it could go. But Groovy KawaiiGroovycat, your character voices are always great. The two characters, Red and London, have great chemistry together. And then both of the PR people, strong HR perspective. I don't think they want to be there either. Anyway, those were the stories to be read this month. Thank you everybody who submitted, and let me know what your favorite was in the comments down below. If you want to try your luck at getting into LMIAY next month, check out the new prompt. It is up. It has been up, though. I kind of took an extra week to put it in there, but it's there. And also, the cringe stream is coming up at the end of December, so prepare for that. With that said, if you need information on what the cringe stream is, it is pretty much just write the cringiest, interpret cringe however you want, write to the cringiest fiction that you possibly can, and that you feel well enough to share. And those will be read as the last loin stream of the year. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Have a great week, everybody, and thank you for your patience. Don't die.
Was that Wayland Cross in the trunk? Do you know, or is that something that's still being figured out?
The person in the trunk was not Wayland Cross. Is he in trouble? We don't know who did it, but as the owner of the car, the longer he's missing, the worse it looks for him.
Cross isn't a killer. For the last couple of years, the average number of murders in Baltimore has been over 300, and it's been going up. Mind you, that's only whatever the badges count as official murder, and believe me, there are people that don't count when they die. Wayland? If you're down here, tell me. I'm not talking to the badges, I've been looking for you. They found a body in your trunk. Way. Why? Did you do that? To the left. Plain black letters read along the wall. You walked in the corridor. Once that ends, you chose the dark is on the right. My vision goes blurry. flickers black and black and black for longer intervals until I can't see anything at all. I'm not screaming anymore, but my voice echoes back to me. Where the hell am I? You're dead, Josephine. Even smart people do stupid shit sometimes, right?